Thank you. So we will be recording the meeting and plan to post that on our project page. So I will get us started with introductions. Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Whitworth. I'm the project manager with Public Works.
Hi there, my name is Josh Heppinger. I'll be serving as the engineering construction coordinator for this project. I work for Public Works Construction Management Division. I'll be out in the field pretty much every day, and I'll be serving as the owner's rep and kind of owner's point of contact for the project.
Hello, my name is Majid Shubiero. I'm the project sponsor for this particular project, and I'm with the Wastewater department.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ella Zhang with Public Works. I am the engineer of record for this project.
Hey everyone, my name is Jacob Snyder. I'm the representative for the contractor, Cedar Hills Construction. I'll be on and off the project for the duration of it.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm Emily Chancellor. I work in Austin Water's Public Information Office. And so I'll be working with the project team to provide communications and help them get messages out to neighbors throughout the project. All right, so we'll hand it over to Lisa now to give us an overview.
This project is to replace and update approximately 11,500 linear feet of aging water and wastewater lines and 356 linear feet of storm drain. In addition to that, we will be doing 10 fire hydrants, which will be replaced, and some will be placed in new locations to meet current spacing requirements. The construction is scheduled to start in May and should take approximately 18 months to complete. And at the end of the construction, all the roads will be resurfaced. Here's a map of the areas, and the green line indicates the wastewater and the blue line indicates the water lines that we will be working on. And this is just a idea of what the construction looks like. To your right, there's a fella down in a trench working on the pipe, and that's pretty much what the trenches will look like. They're gonna cut a fairly narrow trench as deep as they need to go, and they'll pull out the pipe that's there and put in new pipe. So the contractor will use heavy equipment to dig trenches for the new water and wastewater lines. The roads will be patched afterwards. And then once all of the lines are in, we will come back and repave at the very end of the project. Crews will work in front of your property more than one time. They'll come through and they'll do typically the wastewater first because it's deeper, and then they come back in and they do the water. And there will also be times that they're doing the services to each property. So it includes the excavation of and the pipe installation, temporary paving, testing, repairs, and necessary final paving for this. So the meter box, we will be working up to the meter box, and unless something has to move, we will just connect from the main line to the meter box with more or less a perpendicular cut from the water line. So we'll come straight to the meter box. And so anything in that area, and this picture shows where the meter box is, but the blue line shows where they're basically going to run the water line. So they would break the curb right where that is and then attach that meter box. And this is give you an idea of the area that we will need. So one of the things that does sometimes happen is tree trimming in the area. If the equipment can't get underneath the trees that are overhanging the road, we have to sometimes trim them back to protect them from being damaged. But we do have a certified arborist that comes out and does this, and we try in general at the city of Austin to not harm trees or not do any tree work. So, but this gives you an idea of the amount of work we're going to be doing. So during construction, the traffic lanes will be closed. We will always have to have, or sorry, the roads will be closed, but we will always allow you access to your home. For brief periods of times, if you drive up and they are working directly in front of your driveway, there might be a delay, but we will get it covered up so that you can park in your driveway. At some point, your water services and your wastewater services might have a interruption, but we try and keep this to a minimum. And we will notify you in advance of any time we have to turn off the water that we know of. Now, sometimes if there's a break or something, we don't have time to warn you ahead of time, but we do try and give you all of this information ahead of time so you know what we're doing. The work hours on this project are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. With the exception of on the weekends, we might have to work in the intersections, and that's usually from 9 to 4 on the weekends. Intersections, I'm sorry, 9 to 4 weekdays. On the intersections will be on the weekends only. Communication, we have Emily is set up this website at AustinTexas.gov /Southwest Allandale, and we will post every update that we have to that. We will try and notify Nextdoor as well, and also the neighborhood association. We will give it at least 48 hours before planned water shutoff so that you will be able to prepare in advance for those. And we're trying to give you an idea how long they should be shut off.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that overview. And Lydia has put this link to our project page in the chat for everyone. And if you go to that page, and I ask that you do, there's also a link there where you can sign up to get email updates. And so those email updates are kind of our most direct link to get information out about the project. So if there's going to be an intersection work scheduled, or if we're moving to a new street, we try to get a heads up out to you all so you know that's happening. So if you'll sign up, and also encourage your neighbors to use that link and sign up to get updates. So that's our overview of the project, and now we are ready to hear from you. Again, if you have called in by phone, press *9 to indicate that you'd like to speak, and then on the back end, Lydia will open the line up for you. If you're on your computer, you can type in questions or comments in the Q&A, and you also can raise your hand if you'd like to speak and ask your question or just talk with the project team. So I'll wait a minute for that. And then Josh has added a detail here in the chat for us. Thank you. So the intersection work is 9 to 4 on weekdays, and then it would be 7 to 7 on the weekends, looks like. Thanks for that clarification. So we're going to wait a couple of minutes for folks to get their questions in. I'll go ahead and put up our contact information. This information is also on the project website. I know Josh, when he introduced himself, mentioned that he would be the owner's rep and be out there on site. I always like to just kind of talk up Josh and his colleagues. The work they do out there is amazing. They cover multiple projects around the city, and they are making sure the work is being done according to city specifications. They're troubleshooting and working with the contractor to help them be successful. And then they also will be talking with neighbors and just making sure that you all have the information you need, and they're very responsive and customer focused. All right, we have a few questions coming in now, so I'll stop ad-libbing here. So, do you know which streets will be worked on first or the order that the work will be completed? So I'm going to go back to the map so that Lisa or someone from the team can, or maybe even the contractor can speak to that.
Yeah, I just want to be careful about indicating exactly what order we'll be doing things because in underground construction, we plan and we try to do the best we can, but sometimes things come up where we're not able to do what we planned. There could be utilities in the way that weren't supposed to be there and things like that. So we have the general order of things to go for the wastewater line is we're starting on West 50th Street. We're out near Bull Creek and we're heading up towards Placid. And then we plan to do Placid. I guess it's east and west or north and south of West 50th Street. And then we plan to go to West Market Drive after that. And then go to West Fresco Drive. And then kind of finish off the project with Village Drive and West Park Drive. And then we'll kind of redo that same schedule with the water line. But again, that's just based on initial planning. There could be things that go wrong and make us move elsewhere and get out of order.
Thank you, Jacob. That's really helpful. So starting here, and I think you've already started setting up. I don't know if you did any excavation this week, but you've definitely started setting up here at Bull Creek and 50th, right? So that wastewater work will start here and go this direction. And it's helpful to know the sequence. Again, we'll be providing those updates through that email list. So as Jacob mentioned, if they have something that changes the sequence, then we'll be giving those updates as they progress. Thank you. Lisa, anything else you want to add on that?
No, I just reiterate that that's the plan, but sometimes we adapt and overcome if something comes up.
Thank you. Okay, next question. The new trenches will be in the street, yes? Question mark. So want to confirm that's correct. And then the resident says, our pipes are in the front yard and under our driveway apron. Should I assume these will be dug up?
I would not assume they're going to be dug up. I believe this is the one we got an email about where they were dug up like last year, and I requested an address and so that I could look to see what the plan said, and I never did get an actual address. So if you want to contact me at that email address, lisawhitworth.AustinTexas.gov, I will be happy to look up what the plans show and talk with you about it.
Thank you. And they did just provide their address, so I'll get that to you, Lisa, so that you can, so that the team can look at the plans and reply back to you. And also, I think we do want to confirm the trenches will be in the street for the new mains, and then the service line goes from the main to either your wastewater cleanout or your water meter.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, our next, go ahead, Lisa.
No, I was on the fire hydrants. Ella, could you refresh my memory? Are they all going back in the same locations more or less this time?
Yeah, I think we have about 10 proposed fire hydrants, and we also replaced some of the old fire hydrants. So yeah, so they may have a different location, not exactly the same location. Yeah.
Our question that came in is, where will the 10 new fire hydrants be installed, and is that noted on the map? I'm not sure that we have an exhibit at this time, a map at this time that shows the fire hydrants. Perhaps that's something that we could add to the project site over the next couple of weeks so that folks can go and check that out.
Yes, and I'll work on notifying folks that will be receiving a new fire hydrant.
Okay. Good. Okay. I think that's all the questions I have right now. We'll just kind of pause and see if more come in. We appreciate folks spending their time this evening, and of course, this is we're always available. So if you have questions that you think of later this evening or tomorrow, feel free to reach out to Lisa or any one of the project team members we have listed here. Our goal is to be responsive and to get this work done as quickly as we can. We recognize it will be disruptive. We're going to kind of be in your neighborhood for a while here, but for a good reason, to improve your utility services. Oh, here's one. So once the drilling starts, how long does it take for our sidewalk to get cleaned or back to normal?
So the sidewalks, for the majority of it, they won't be disturbed. However, where we have to cut through a sidewalk to get to the water meter, we will put in temporary asphalt until we get to the point of concrete repair work. And Josh, can you elaborate on how long you think that might be?
It really depends on what stage of the water line we're on. So if we're at the very beginning of a water line installation, it wouldn't be until the very end that we would be doing the concrete replacement, because we would have to test and connect the new line. So hopefully, I would think best case scenario, maybe we would have a temporary a cold mix patch for maybe no more than a few months. Worst case, hopefully no more than a few months. And then maybe before we move to a street, I could talk to Jacob. I think it would be a good idea to whatever concrete replacement we have to do, whether it be sidewalk or curb and gutter, we could at the very end of a water line installation, we could just knock out all the concrete all at once. And then that way we don't have to keep coming back to the same street or anything like that.
Lydia, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that it looks like we have a new call-in listener. So if that's the case, if you want to ask a question, just dial *9 and I will unmute you and let you know when that happens.
Thank you. Thanks for joining. We have completed our presentation and we're in the question and answer part of the meeting. So if you've called in, feel free to press *9 if you'd like to ask a question or talk with the team. I have a few more questions that have come in. So one is, what is the estimated completion date for the project?
So it's about a 1.5 year long project. So we're looking at November of 2024.
I think it would be 2023, right?
I'm sorry, 2023.
Yeah, that's okay.
Math,
That's all right.
it's rough at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I know you have a lot of projects also, and some of them may be that long. So we're looking at towards the fall of 2023 is the current estimate. Okay, and then let's see, I've answered that one. Just want to confirm, you'll be doing the water and wastewater line repairs at the same time, is that right? Or will it be completed in separate phases? Who wants to take that one?
So this is really up to the contractor on how they run the project. So Jacob, do you want to speak to how you're going to, I think you kind of already answered this, but can you?
Sure, we plan to go through the wastewater and try to complete all the wastewater lines. It just ends up working that way, especially since the wastewater is deeper than the water line. With the services crossing the streets, we end up crossing our own lines that we're installing. And so we typically go through and install all the wastewater lines, and then we'll come back and install the water lines. And that's why they were indicating that there'll be multiple phases, and we'll return to your street multiple times because we have to install the wastewater line, then we have to install the services, then we come back another time for the water line, and then we do the water line services. So, and then there's testing on top of all that. So there's multiple phases, and that's why the construction process takes so long.
Thank you for that. And then just a clarification, one of our attendees was wanting to know the estimated completion for the West 50th area. So I think part of that answer is that they're going to be there several times. So I don't know that we won't have a date where they're completed in that 50th Street area until the end, probably, right?
Final paving won't occur in West 50th until 18 months from now.
Right.
But there'll be breaks in construction when we're not on their street, we're not digging. But yeah,
So,
it'll be multiple phases.
so Jacob, maybe do you have an idea how long it'll take you to run the sewer from Bull Creek and turn the corner on Placid?
It's hard to say a date just because you never know if you're going to run into rock or if you're going to run into unknown utilities. But assuming
Maybe
that-
like a month and a
Best-
half, or 3 weeks, or
yeah, I mean, I think best case would be 6 weeks.
Okay.
But again, there's the wastewater line, and then we come back and do the services. And so all the wastewater line and services is probably best case 2 months.
Okay. So our sort of estimate would be about 2 months to get from 50th to Placid for the wastewater work. And then they will come back to that area to do the water work after all the streets are done with wastewater. Am I recapping that correctly?
Yes, you are.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we have a statement that West Park Drive has bad or no drainage after rain. Will this be addressed with the repaving of the street?
So there is some storm sewer in this project, but it's repairing of the lines that are already there. There's no additional storm sewer going in. What we've experienced on some of these projects is because we come back and we pave, we can sometimes, if we're lucky, manipulate to help drainage drain better when we do the paving. That's not all the time, and it's a case by case basis, but just the fact that you'll have the new paving, which will be smoother theoretically, that should help with some of the drainage.
Lisa, would it help if this resident kind of sends you an email kind of letting you know where the challenges are, just so you have that information when we get to repaving? Is that?
You can send myself and Josh an email with the locations, and it's several months off before we do pave, so
Yeah.
it may be better to wait a little bit towards the end of the project, because nothing will happen before then. But we do want as much information as we can get while we're out there to see what we can positively affect while we're in the area. And that's not to say that we can fix things like that, but we will do our best within our ability to address these kinds of things.
correct? And then a complete drainage overhaul would involve realignment of the existing curb and gutter, which that it's in and of itself is not included in the project, but there are maybe some grades we might be able to influence while we do the mill and overlay.
Thank you. All right, so keep in mind to send us updates as the project gets towards the end, and that would be helpful to the team. Okay, someone's asking if we're able to provide a tentative start date for West Fresco Drive, and they understand that it may not be at all accurate, I think that we'd ask for you to sign up to get the email updates so that we can give you that information when we're closer to that time. Do you all have, let's see, and then an additional question on this for West Fresco Drive, will the digging be on the side of the even or odd house numbers or both? Does anyone have plans handy that you can look at, or do we need to get back with this resident about West Fresco Drive?
I'll look up where the new lines are going to be if y'all want to get back to them on the date.
Generally speaking, though, water's on one side of the road and wastewater's on the other side of the road. So we tend to be, straddling the center line on all of these projects.
And Jacob, do you have any information that you can provide about timeline for working on West Fresco Drive?
That's several streets into our schedule, and a lot can change between now and the time we get to West Fresco. So I don't really have a good estimate on that. I could tell you 6 months, but it could be 4 months and it could be 8 months. So I just want to be careful about that.
Sure.
So, Jacob, you said the second street you were moving to was which one?
Placid.
So you'll see us moving down the first street, and you'll just know that once we're done with that, our next location to go is Placid. And as we get to Placid, we'll let remind everybody that the next street we plan to do is which one, Jake?
Whichever one it is.
West Market, in between West 50th and Fresco.
So we'll do our best to let you know when we're coming closer so that it will be more accurate.
And it looks like we're going to be digging on both sides of the street. So yeah, like Lisa was saying, water is going to be on one side and wastewater will be on the other.
Okay. All right. I think we've answered that one. This.
Emily, I just want to be clear, though, we will do one trench at a time down the side of the street, not at the same time.
Yeah, that's good. So you can keep traffic flowing on the street. Yes. Okay. I think we've discussed all the questions that have come in so far. Any kind of closing comments that anyone on the project team has thought of that we should emphasize or talk about here before we get ready to sign off? I bet we might have another question or two come in, but I think we're getting close to winding down.
Yeah. Just the main takeaway I'd like people to have is just to just try and bear with us. Unfortunately, underground construction is really it can be invasive. Sometimes it can be loud and annoying, but at the end of the day, we're replacing critical infrastructure that's been in the ground for maybe up to 70 years. That's at the end of its current life. So it can be kind of a headache sometimes, but at the end of the project, we're going to have a brand new water distribution system, brand new wastewater collection system, and brand new paving, which after a week of that, everybody will forget about the headaches. So just bear with us. Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay, I don't have any other questions, so I'm going to kind of do a last call. If you're submitting a question, go ahead and get it in. Otherwise, reach out to us with the contact information posted here. And please do share that link with your neighbors and encourage them to sign up. We do work to provide this direct communication through our email newsletter so that folks know what to expect. And yeah, I think we'll say good night and thank you for being here.